Hello again and welcome to Pearl Magazine. At this time of the year, everywhere you go, there is an ad for mooncakes as the Mid-Autumn Festival approaches. But many don't know the colorful history of the mooncake, the role it played in politics, and how it evolved into different shapes and tastes. Gabi Xu went on a culinary journey, visiting mooncake factories and digging into the gooey history of mooncakes in Hong Kong. The making of mooncakes is considered one of Hong Kong's intangible cultural heritage. They made their way here from the mainland.
50 years ago, I have read a book concerning the history of the use of mooncake to overthrow the Yuan dynasty.
The folklore says that those plotting to overthrow the Yuan dynasty would hide messages in mooncakes to communicate with each other, thus popularizing the cakes later on as people celebrated their success. Fast forward 600 years, Cheng says that while mooncakes were originally brought to Hong Kong from the mainland in the 1840s, the market has evolved so much here since the 1980s that our mooncakes are now popular and sought after among mainlanders.
In the day of 1841, when the British occupied Hong Kong Island, a lot of Guangdong residents moved to Hong Kong. Therefore, also brought the tradition of Chinese style to Hong Kong, especially the rice dumpling and the mooncake.
Back then, tea houses and restaurants sold mooncakes, and they even put this in front of shops to attract customers.
More than 100 years ago, most of the bakery and the tea house see the mooncake can make a lot of profit. I think the profit is 4 times of the original price.
On this 100-year-old price list, items are shown in both Hong Kong dollars and Chinese silver coins. In those days, some mooncakes were even filled with bird's nest. And given the expense, it was common to buy these festive foods in installment plans. They called it Yut Beng Wu.
The monthly paying book of the mooncake in 1950s, people used to pay $3 each month to a bakery or to a tea house. Therefore, later on, next year's Mid-Autumn Festival, they can receive 10 boxes of mooncakes. Therefore, an easy way for low-grade class of the residents in Hong Kong.
At this bakery, one of Hong Kong's oldest makers of mooncakes, this plan is still offered to customers who like the tradition.
A small portion tend to be the same customers. So they do it every year and they just continue to do it. In the 40s and the 50s, mooncake has a greater impact on the overall business because I think the culture back then is also a little bit different. And so people would buy mooncakes to gift not only to peers, but to give to your bosses, gifting to your managers, like in your workplace, etc. And so that has changed, I think, over time.
Carlson's grandfather founded the bakery 84 years ago.
When we first started, we were not a bakery from the beginning. We were actually a convenience store. But somehow during the war, there was the opportunity that we started making baked goods. In the 40s was when we really started making mooncakes.
He says that today they manufacture tens of millions of mooncakes annually. Most of them are the traditional Cantonese style.
We have about 30 plus flavors. The more popular ones would be still the traditional style, so the double egg yolk lotus seed paste ones.
A traditional mooncake was made with oily skin. The fillings are lotus paste and bean paste. The key ingredients are the lotus seed paste, and peanut oil. The essence is in making good lotus seed paste. Starting from 1 lotus seed, it takes a few hours to get the lotus seed paste, at least 3 hours.
Chef Lam works for the bakery. He's been a baker for over 50 years.
It's not easy to master making mooncakes. I could only start making mooncakes after 5 to 6 years.
He is mainly in charge of the production lines. During this peak mooncake making season, workers' hours are all extended from 8 to 9 hours.
In the past, we made mooncakes by hand. Now we can use machines to help us divide the fillings, skins, and molding. You see, we don't need people for molding now, not like before.
But some mooncakes, like the 4-egg yolk lotus seed paste mooncake, are still made by hand.
Thin skin and a thick filling. The machine can't make it. The most difficult thing to learn is how to place the filling well.
As a Hong Kong brand, a large portion of the bakery's customers are from the mainland. Less cross-border travel has meant lower sales.
As a Hong Kong brand and a souvenir brand, and so naturally during the summertime or leading up to mid-autumn, we would sell some mooncakes to tourists that traveling in or to the Hong Kong people that are traveling out to visit friends and families.
The development of Hong Kong-style mooncakes began in the 1980s. These are made with egg custard and a cookie-like crust, rather than the traditional lotus seed paste and oily skin mooncakes.
Original is the Guangzhou style. In Chinese called the Guangsik. Later on, been a Hong Kong style, Guangsik, 1981. When the mainland China opened to the whole world, therefore the Hong Kong style mooncake also removed to the mainland China.
由1986年
It evolved from a steamed, creamy custard bun in 1986. We tested and made mooncakes based on that in 1987, bringing together Chinese and Western cuisine. It was the first of its kind in Hong Kong.
都係全香港首創。
做奶黃月餅最關鍵嘅係咩？
最關鍵嘅首先就係個皮先啦，皮先係我哋會選用最好嘅麵粉啦，咁啊中筋麵粉，跟住牛油、吉士，跟住牛奶、雞蛋同麵沙。
即係 cookie 皮，即係傳統月餅同埋奶黃月餅嘅區別。
係啦，區別嘅主要係我哋個皮咯，皮啊我哋要用曲奇嘅皮比較鬆脆多啲。
He says it takes 45 minutes to make one mooncake after the ingredients are prepared. The egg custard mooncakes are usually mini size to make them look more exquisite. Sales of the expensive snacks have dropped due to the pandemic as the number of tourists from the mainland have dropped dramatically.
細個食呢啲貴價嘢嚟㗎，而家嚟買都係一個回憶嚟㗎嘛。
The decline in tourist spending has prompted business owners to focus more on the local market. In Sham Shui Po, one local bakery with a kitchen in the back has always focused on serving local customers. Inside the kitchen, chefs are busy mixing ingredients.
即係鹼水、麵粉、糖漿、黃灰花生油，係咁啦，係撈過係餅皮嚟嘅。4黃白蓮蓉、4黃黃蓮蓉同埋大黃椰絲係咁咯，今日整呢啲。
They made these molds themselves and have been using them for decades. Wing says the cost of mooncakes increases every year. This is not your typical mooncake. Hayden uses this place to test his keto mooncake, a low-carbohydrate mooncake.
Traditional mooncakes have a lot of sugars and a lot of flours, which is the carb. We need to replace these ingredients first. We use nut powder that has high dietary fiber, like almond, flaxseed, and coconut powder. We use natural sweeteners with no calories, called erythritol, and monk fruit sweetener. It is 3 to 4 times the cost of a traditional mooncake.
Hayden says the use of these ingredients mean the keto mooncakes may crack easily, so they make them by hand. He says they can make around 2,000 mooncakes a day. Hayden Leung was a cantopop singer. He started his keto food business in 2020 when the performing arts industry was battered during the pandemic. In 2 years, he has expanded to 6 shops. He also tries to expand through other sales channels.
The biggest budget is on sales commission. When we sell the mooncakes, we need to give shops and supermarkets consignment fees.
Hayden says many people find out about their mooncakes just through searching the words keto and mooncakes online. 60% of their customers are diabetics, and the rest are people on diets or wanting organic food.
Last year, we sold 3,000 boxes. One box is 4 mooncakes, so we sold 12,000. This year, our sales goal is 6,000 boxes, 24,000 mooncakes.
Other than keto mooncakes, another mooncake trend is vegan. One vegan food company has been selling them since 2016.
Obviously, mooncake has evolved a lot since the tradition of since mooncake was created. And now there are so many different flavors, so many different ways to present it. So it's becoming much more trendy. The key is how to create the type of mouthfeel using oat-based or other types of non-dairy that can create the equal smoothness and also that texture.
While these round snacks using monk fruit extract or vegan butter may be finding a niche in the market, traditional Cantonese mooncakes still seem to be the top choice for most people. But as with the history of the mooncake, it seems the festive pastry will continue to change with the times and the tastes. When we come back, an effort to reduce medicine waste. Stay with us. Welcome back. Seeing the doctor when you feel sick and getting medicine from them is standard practice. And oftentimes, people don't finish their prescribed medication. A study in 2016 shows that each person in Hong Kong stocked an average 138 grams of unused meds. This figure has gone up since the pandemic when people started hoarding medicine. These drugs aren't just waste, but also potentially bad for the environment. Currently, there is no law to regulate unused drugs in households. Gabi Xu met an NGO dealing with this issue to find out how to better handle this problem. Today, Julia is visiting a pharmacy in Aberdeen to give away medicine left by her deceased father.
係啊，姑娘啊，我有好多藥啊，我想咧就係擺落個箱度，但係擺唔晒喎嚇。咁咧就有好多啦，有啲係我爸爸嘅，就有啲係血壓藥啊，有啲係排大便㗎，仲有啲咧胃酸倒流㗎。
My father passed away at the beginning of the year. When I tried to tidy up his room, I didn't expect to find that amount of drugs. I was shocked. That's too much. He took more than 5 different pills each time.
When Julia called the hospital to find out what to do with his leftover drugs, she was told to throw them away. Mayoni has been a pharmacist in Hong Kong for 5 years. From time to time, patients have asked her how to dispose of their leftover drugs.
Currently, Hong Kong do not have regular guidelines or proper guidance on how to regulate drug disposal. So actually, we just recommend them to dispose it by other household dispose. They just throw it in the trash bin, or they could put them in a plastic bag, prevent the spillage of the drugs. But it is definitely not a desirable method to actually dispose the medicines.
Chung Shang studies how drug waste affects the environment. She says Hong Kong lags behind other major jurisdictions in handling or teaching people how to properly dispose of drugs.
低於呢個標準就係對環境無害。呢啲你見到咧係有啲就全部都超晒啦，有啲就部分超啦。
Chung and her team collected water or leachate from 3 landfills.
A landfill that was closed more than 20 years ago. And then I still find the active ingredients of certain types of antibiotics there, even after 20 years. So this belief that antibiotics, they are readily degradable in the environment is not true to all kinds of antibiotics.
Chung says the source of those antibiotics is drug waste.
Even though after 20 years, their concentration can be of a level that cause alarm. It can deduce or trigger off antibiotic resistance bacteria to develop in those sources or water bodies that those leachate was discharged into.
Recent research done by the University of York in England analyzed water samples collected from 258 waterways in 137 countries and regions. The results show that Kai Tak River was the most polluted river in the world, with 34 pharmaceuticals found in the water. This NGO has decided to tackle the drug pollution issue in Hong Kong.
We knew about the problem of Hong Kong drug disposal because like Hong Kong, where the Hong Kong public are just throwing their pills and medicines directly to the rubbish bin, and that will directly go into the landfills and the rivers and the ocean. So this will create a great pollution to the ecosystem and also the environment.
They have placed 100 boxes in 98 locations, including offices, residential estates, and elderly homes, to collect unwanted medicine. All drugs collected are delivered to this pharmacy for analysis and classification.
It has been 2 weeks after we have collected the drugs, and until this moment, we have analyzed and we have found like 93 of different kinds of drugs in our pharmacy. It has been over 100 different types of drugs. The top 3 of medication class would be analgesic, that is like pain medicines, and anti-diabetic drugs, that is to treat the diabetes. And also we found some laxatives, like it is for patients with like constipation.
Mayoni says the waste was caused by patients who don't take their medication as directed. Another main reason for drug waste is the long waiting time for public hospital follow-up consultations. As a result, doctors tend to prescribe excessive amounts of medicine. Julia says her father's doctor would prescribe medicine for 3 months every time he went for an appointment, even though he already had the same drugs at home.
The doctor wouldn't ask, and the patients wouldn't say so. It is a waste of taxpayers' money.
Dr. David Lam says the excessive amount of drugs prescribed by doctors is because of a shortage of staff at public hospitals.
If hospital pharmacy had enough staff, they wouldn't want to give so many drugs to citizens at once. It would be better if we divided into 3 times and patients get drugs every 2 months. However, if there's staff shortage and their workload is heavy, then patients are given medicine for 3 to 6 months. It is not uncommon for citizens to bring cards to get drugs.
But Dr. Lam says giving patients medicine to cover a short period of time isn't a good idea. The government has a pilot program called eFill to help patients refill drugs, splitting prescriptions into smaller, more manageable quantities. But not all patients can join the pilot program. Dr. Lam suggests that hospitals can work with community pharmacists to solve this problem at the source.
We hope in the future, if hospital authority can prescribe drugs for a long period, then some community pharmacies can help review supplementary medicines.
A 2016 Baptist University report showed that the amount of medicine people keep at home is equivalent to 1,017 tons. Due to the COVID pandemic, the hoarding situation is likely to be even worse today.
The COVID Chinese medicine that was said to be effective. Those medicine, if I actually have 4 boxes at home, and I didn't even have a chance, touch wood.
Over 280,000 pills were collected in 1 month. After analysis, the pharmacy called licensed waste collectors to transport these unwanted drugs to the Chemical Waste Treatment Center for incineration. Incineration is considered the safest way to dispose of drugs. But Janice's NGO, JCI Taiping Shang, says the pills disposal campaign is just a pilot project. For now, they bear all the cost themselves.
The total amount of the project is costing $40,000 to $50,000. The printing of the boxes and also the logistic part is the biggest expenses For incinerating the pills, this cost a few thousand.
Government officials have previously told lawmakers that the amount of leftover drugs in homes is still relatively small. However, in many other places, such as Macau and Taiwan, there are drug disposal schemes.
For Macau, they are led by the government. So the government initiates the public to dispose the drug in the boxes that created by the government.
Aside from incineration, Dr. Chung suggests that people can mix leftover drugs with other waste, such as coffee grounds or tea leaves, before throwing them into rubbish bins.
It's just the last resort. If you don't have anything better to do, then this might be a recommended solution.
But can unused drugs, particularly expensive ones, be recycled?
As we're actually concerned about the drug quality and safety. Firstly, 2/3 of the medicines we collected now are actually expired. We could not assure that the storage condition at patients' home are optimal.
However, simply collecting drugs for incineration also has its own problems. Dr. Chung says the NGO's project of pills disposal is on the right track, but they still run the risk of breaking the law.
Because one of the ordinances in Hong Kong, Chapter 138, the Pharmacy and Poisons Ordinance, in Section 28, it says that only certain parties can legally store up and keep certain medicines.
There is even a warning not to put dangerous drugs in the box.
It can be a very unfavorable situation to premises, to organizations that are having a goodwill to help the environment.
Chung says Hong Kong's legal system is still not conducive to environmentally friendly activities. She says ultimately it's the government's responsibility to collect unused medicine. That's our show for this week. Join us on Pearl Magazine, same time next week. Bye for now.